So I'm in Hickory, North Carolina, walking around the old Henry River mill or yarn mill. They made yarn out here. This was an old textile facility or property, a bunch of houses for the workers, and, you know, early 1900s when they built this whole thing. If you've seen, there's other movies that were filmed here, but definitely The Hunger Games is something I saw. So Katniss's house is here. Pretty cool piece of property here. There's all kinds of buildings. Very pretty, a lot of history. So this is the original dam that they used to power the mill and all the houses, store, everything. I wonder if the turbines are still here. Look at this thing. Oh wow, it actually still works. So it's pretty cool how it is now, but if I owned this property, I'd probably be out here every day. Not necessarily restoring it, but just maintaining it. I mean, this is really cool land. So. Personally, that's what I'd be doing. The Henry River Manufacturing Company was a cotton yarn manufacturer that opened its doors in 1905. During its initial operation, the company erected 35 worker houses, a 2-story boarding house, a brick company store building, a power-producing dam, and the original 3-story brick mill where the yarn was produced. Until 1914, all operations were fully powered by water power. This was later converted to steam power and electricity as technology advanced and upgrades were made to increase production. By 1963, the company had tripled its initial production, but due to economic pressure from overseas, the textile industry had already begun a hard downward spiral until the mill ceased operations shortly after. I don't know if they do one or not, probably not, but it would be a really amazing spot for a like a haunted house or, you know, haunted hayride even. You have to kind of ignore the old wood and storage and look at it, you know, look at the walls. Look at this shelf, the built-in. So I just took a short little tour with Donovan, very nice guy, very knowledgeable, and he told me a lot about this place. So this was the store. So in production, when they were making this District 12, they're the ones production put pastries and cakes here, and apparently there was a porch here, and then he said there was they built like a pig pen here. Interestingly enough, he said that this place closed down in 1971 as a textile company or whatever. The mill burned in 1974. The guy who bought it in 1971, bought all the property, was going to reopen the mill, and then the mill burned down. So it was never reopened as that. But he said that this place they kind of kept up with it for years. Put new roofs on, painted, and it was actually in pretty good condition. When the Hunger Games production came in, they spent a couple weeks getting things ready, making the roads dirt, just in preparation for the movie. And he said during filming, they actually blew up one of these houses. There used to be like 35 of them, and there's only, I think, 20-something left now. A lot of them burned down over time and everything, but for the movie, they blew one up, and they didn't even tell the owner they were going to do it. So he was super mad. He was obviously financially compensated, but he was very mad. I don't think it was about money for that guy. So then he said that it became super popular to come here. This is after they filmed the movie, I guess in the early 2010s. A lot of people were coming out here, but that's also when a lot of damage, a lot of graffiti started, broken windows. He said that store, up until about 10 years ago, was in really good shape. But now all the windows are broken. People were squatting in these buildings. They were stealing stuff. So the guy who owned it shut it down, wasn't allowing anybody to come in here for a few years until they sold the property to this new company who owns it, and now they're showcasing it. That's basically what he was saying. And for the majority of the movie, all this stuff was filmed back kind of here behind the houses. It would make sense. I mean, it's a really cool shot from here. Really, really neat the way the houses kind of curve to the right there. You can see all the different houses. So when she was practicing her arrow shooting and walking up, it was all right along here. Or somewhere back here, I mean. And as interesting as this place is, it still was a mill back in the day. So the working conditions were horrible. In the beginning, there was no child labor laws, no working laws at all. And they played this game where they created their own money, which was worth something in this village, but it wasn't worth anything outside of here. So they would jack up the prices if you were going to use actual money, but things were more affordable in the store if you were paying with that. I think it was called a Dudley or something. It was like a specific coin that they had.
Right.
Wow.
Some metal detector guys very kindly donated them to us. The other ones were given to us by the Adderholt family, which was one of the founders of the village. And in fact, the machine that they're in front of was that's like an old school version of an ATM, so to speak.
Oh, wow. So you could use American...
You put your real money in, you push in the bell buttons, and then your Monopoly money falls
Wow.
out. And it's in great shape too. You can still push in the buttons, it makes a little bell noise.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a wild practice.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the downside to capitalism, unfortunately.
Oh,
everything has an upside and downside, and I mean, the coins are amazing, but that is incredible that they actually said, oh yeah, you can switch out your money.
Yeah, super simple and easy, because you see on top, you put in your silver change up there, and then,
What, 5-6 different types of coins?
Yeah, denominations, it goes up to $1, and they go down to 5 cents.
When did laws come in to prevent that, do you know?
Around the 30s.
Okay.
They started cracking down on stuff like that, and like I said, a couple of places kind of kept it up until, like I said, right around World War II. That's when they started destroying all those extra company scripts, different coins and things like that.
Going into Katniss's house. That's pretty cool. Apparently this bed and that nightstand are original from the production. When Katniss is in here with her sister, I guess that is the bed that they're on. And then they built this. This was built specifically for the movie, this little room. This definitely wouldn't have been like this. Actually, he was pointing out that there's a center beam here, and this would have been the divider. One living quarters, one family, and then the other. And then this space on the floor is where a hearth was for a fireplace. I don't know if it was double. I don't know. And then the stairs for that side would have been over there, going up. This, where the camera crew would have been, where they were filming Hunger Games, would have been all in here. That window, we used to be a door, so there'd be 2 doors, and then the stairs going up for this one. Bunch of storage.
I'll be back. I love you. I'll still cook you.
Love the doors. The patina on there. Look at that. Love that. Again, if this was my property, I'd probably open up a couple of these, restore the floors, and get some period correct furniture and things like that to kind of show what it looked like. You know, nothing crazy, but just to give you an idea, a better idea as far as the history of this place. And that actually wouldn't even cost that much money. I mean, a lot of the furniture's here. They got it piled up in those other buildings. Like even this looks like maybe a kitchen or something. You know, you could clean that up. Doesn't have to be restored. Just some books in here. That's what I would do. This is like the road from Pet Cemetery. These cars are flying up and down this thing, blind turns. Take your life in your hands. I did read in the pamphlet that the last person to leave this area, even though there's no plumbing in these buildings, it was the late 90s, early 2000s. So people certainly lived here until fairly recently. I'm not even going to bother trying to step on that. So it was outhouses only. Look at that bird's nest on the shelf there in the corner. Luckily, this is built kind of high up, or it probably would have been destroyed by that hurricane last year from the floods. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of this, it's just some of these are, a lot of these are too far gone as far as, you know, you got to save the roof first. You got to, I think the saving grace for a lot of these is they have the metal roof. But I'd be replacing that You know, even if you make it look stained and old, but put a new roof on these things so they don't deteriorate anymore. Whoa, there was a bird in there. Just scared me half to death. Sorry, bird. Go back to doing what you were doing. So I know before I was saying that if I own this property, I would be working to at least preserve things or maybe restore some things. And Donovan said that that's exactly what they're going to do. Again, everything takes money and time. And so they are trying to restore these, at least, preserve them, keep them from being in such bad disrepair. But what he was saying was that each of these houses had 2 families living in them. So they would each have an entrance, they would each have stairs on either side of the building, of the house, going up to the bedrooms. So a lot of these have been converted over time for whatever reason. People were living in these well after that mill closed down, or burned down, really. And he also explained why these crazy colors, like pink, like this one is pink and bright blue and yellow. And it's because that's what they were doing probably back in the 2000s when they were trying to keep these looking somewhat nice. Next to the store, there eventually was a school that was built, but the school burned down as well. So I don't know how many buildings they lost to fire over time, but a decent amount of them. But in the beginning, though, for many years, there was no schools here, nothing like that. Yeah, it's just fascinating to me that this whole area, this whole village, or whatever you want to call it, this property was never looked at as being, District 12-esque as far as it falling apart. It's just been, unfortunately, let go. I mean, slowly, obviously, over time, but it was somewhat kept up with these metal roofs and everything. And I think once the roof goes, as we know, everything else follows, because it's just the water gets in there and but they're working to fix it up again, that's for sure. Anyway, I'm getting back on the road. Pretty cool spot if you're ever in North Carolina. Take the drive, come check it out.